Today on Drawbli,
we're looking at the art of Art Germ.
Now, this artist has been around the block for a little, while.
When I pulled him up, you were like, oh, I know this artist.
Just by seeing their art, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, well, I guess there's nothing new under the sun for you, but that's all right. I love how we get to see the markers included in the images. That's one of my favorite things with traditional artists.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much fun stuff going on here. I believe that they also create digitally, so it's cool to see their traditional art here.
They do, yeah. I think I've seen some of their digital work on their Instagram as well. Most of their work that I have found does come from Instagram as opposed to ArtStation.
And that's okay. Hey, wherever you share your art online, we'll check it out.
I love how we can see so many of the individual marker strokes in everything.
Yeah, I do like that as well. I feel like markers are such a fun way to create art, like traditionally. It would be the way that I would, I think, be most interested in.
I think I would like it too, because I do like pen and ink, which is a very commitment style based medium where you don't really have much opportunity to undo a thing. And I think it's similar with markers. And I feel like with markers, I definitely get the sense that you really want to focus a lot on your fundamentals, because it's super probably annoying to put all this work into an image and then have it back up and be like, oh, it looks super off or wonky. You have to be really careful about that.
Gambit from the X-Men. I feel like, what did you call this guy last time? Gimmick, yeah. Yeah, not quite.
Close enough.
Not quite, yeah. Gambit. Yeah, his style is so fun too. He's got such a distinct style that I have a pretty easy time picking it out, whether it's traditional or digital.
Look at all the forms in this sleeve
here.
That's
what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's amazing. And the button, I mean, wow. You could just sit here and like spend 15 minutes looking at this sleeve, thinking about how did he plan that out, because there's so many little shifts.
Yeah, and you can also, I think, learn a lot from studying from this artist, because you can see just how many simple steps they have in terms of their shading. Because with markers, well, and I might be wrong, you might be able to create more gradated blending steps by like working them together. But oftentimes I see kind of this hard-edged stair stepping, and you can see that in a lot of their clothing.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's, again, like such a commitment-based thing where you don't have as many options to blend things out and make it airbrushed. So you need to be careful not just with where you place things, but how you place things.
You can see some of that blending, like in the hair though, where there are some of these strokes of the pen creating this kind of feel of the individual strands of hair. But for the most part, they're, stylized with these larger chunks. You can really see that up here in the bangs.
I'd be interested to know how they get the very like airbrushed skin, as opposed to having that look like it's like the marker strokes like we see on her clothing and then elsewhere. Yeah,
I think it's for the most part kind of one value. You can see some of the stair stepping here, like in the shading around the elbow, but we can look at a few more. Like here, it like kind of gradates down to a darker. It definitely isn't all the same value, and the transitions are softer, so you clearly can achieve that with markers.
Yeah, but I feel like looking just at this blue solid behind her, like that was done with markers, and we still see all these like back and forth lines, which we aren't seeing in her skin. I'm just so curious about that process.
Yeah, maybe they're water soluble or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So I know that's definitely a thing.
I have to go study. It looks like he, goes places, probably has like booths at art fairs, so we can go see what he's up to.
Yeah, I mean, this artist, I'm sure, has at least one tutorial online for how they work.
That's a good point.
So could easily, dig into their process if we wanted to.
With it being traditional medium too, it probably really does matter, like the professional quality of the markers you're using.
Yeah.
You're probably just not going to get the same blend and smoothness with like student grade versus professional grade.
Oh, student grade.
I'm learning about it now that I'm getting a little bit more into the traditional medium. There's a lot of talk about...
It's like the cheapo version.
Yeah, and every book I've read so far has said, you know what, if you can afford it, just even if you're a student, get the professional grade, just do it.
I'm a big proponent, and you've heard me say this before, so I'm sure I sound like a broken record, but I think you should use the best tool that you can afford for the job. I think that you should do yourself a favor. If you can, and if you want to, do it.
Yeah, because early in your 3D sculpting career, you invested in the massive Wacom tablet.
Yeah.
And that was just, I mean, you could have spent years using something smaller and clunkier, but...
I did. I started off using smaller tablets, but about 4 years into my career, I was like, well, my back is starting to hurt from hunching over all the time, and I would like a larger Cintiq.
That must have been an exciting purchase.
It was, and I still love using it, although it is starting to show its age a little bit.
Aww. This image is so cool. I love how purple her hair is with the pink of her frills and bows. And I'm just so impressed with how, well structured these pieces are. None of the perspective is like off, which with traditional, like especially these like anime or more Marvel-esque, I think it would be really easy to get that off just slightly. And then you've committed though to it, and sometimes it's so hard to see that until you're like deep into the process.
Yeah, something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I think Art Germ probably does this as well, is just like kind of taking things a little slow in terms of like go slower to go faster, Think about each brushstroke that you're making. Be intentional about what you're creating. Don't just plunge ahead willy-nilly.
Yeah. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Absolutely.
Yes, if you go slow, it'll go smoother, and if it's going more smoothly, it'll go faster.
Yeah, I agree.
I decided to include this image of the artist, and I believe that's his wife. At least that's what he said in the captions.
He could be lying.
Yeah, I know. I don't like to make assumptions because I don't read a lot of captions. Okay. I'm like, that's probably.
Well, if he mentioned that it's his wife, I'm sure.
Yes. And in this image, he said, my wife wanted this bag painted with this character.
So that's cool. Yeah,
the bag for her.
I don't know that character, but
I think it's actually Poison Ivy. Like
it is?
On Poison Ivy.
Some version of Poison Ivy? That's so fun.
Yeah, that'd be a cool bag to own.
That would, yeah. That's super cool.
I included this close-up of some hair he painted. It looks like, Bride of Frankenstein. Just because, first of all, he included it. So I'm like, well, then there's something here worth focusing on. But then, looking at it, the brush strokes of this are really interesting and fun.
I'm guessing this is digital. I don't know. It might not be, but it looks like it kind of is to me based on the brush strokes I'm seeing. Some of the layering and blending going on in the ear there. But yeah, you can see like rake brush strokes or whether that's traditional or not. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. And I try to include some beautiful men in our videos because I did have a commenter reach out and was like, you have so many beautiful women. Do you ever see beautiful men? And I'm like, well, no, a lot of artists do focus primarily on beautiful women. But now I make a point of if I see an artist who traditionally does beautiful women and has a handful of beautiful men, I put the beautiful men in.
Yeah, most artists who can draw women can also draw men. It's pretty much the same thing, and women are just a little harder to draw.
Yes, and this is super cool.
This is Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen, who is a very creepy, very powerful character. So it's cool to see fan art of him.
And if you would like to see fan art, go ahead and click that subscribe button.
And this is the part where we say Goomba.